All right, for today's episode, I want to talk about it's better with friends. And when you're putting out content, and if you get an opportunity to do it with somebody else on camera with you, or it doesn't have to be in the same room, it could be remote, wherever it might be. It does produce content that is a little more compelling than it's just yourself. Now, before everyone goes crazy in the comments, don't do that. But if it's small content like, hey, how to install X, might not be, right? But if it's deeper content, something that you're putting out there and you're going through multiple steps and you have somebody else there to ask questions, it's, kind of puts a different spin on it, and they can kind of prep you for what you're about to deliver, right? So when I do webinars, especially, I can deliver the content by myself, right? But it's sometimes better to have another person there to kind of tee up questions or tee up what we're about to go do, because when you're in the moment and you're delivering this content and you're recording it or you're doing it live, you kind of just you're worried about it's not going to go right. You're worried about having to reshoot it. You're worried about all those other things, and you're just kind of like following that, and there's not a natural progression. So when you have an opportunity to bring somebody else in, they kind of break that up, right? You can focus on what you're doing, but they added that little human, that layer of humanness on top of, I guess you could say, right? It makes it feel like a conversation. It makes it feel like the person watching the content or consuming this, digital content is in the room with you, right? And that's really cool because it gives you that kind of that really cool opportunity to say, well, I'm with them, right? And I can kind of go through. And if they're asking questions that a general person might ask, or you didn't put it in the content that you want to present out, you can answer it right away, right? And it feels like you're kind of inviting somebody into the studio with you when they're watching the content. Now it gets even better. Is if you and somebody else, especially on the technical side, have content that is more collaborative than not, I guess you would say, meaning like you have your technology that you're talking about, they have their technology that they're talking about, and you show together how those work. That is absolute content gold, right? Because it answers so many questions for so many people, right? Does this work with Kubernetes, right? Or does this work on this version of Linux, or whatever it might be when you're producing this type of technical content? And you answer that question right away. And so if you get an opportunity to collaborate or do some type of content with an individual who's, can just come on camera with you and just ask those questions and kind of like walk through what you're about to show, that's great. If you can get it where you're both kind of demoing or showing that content working together, like their technology, your technology that you're building content around, and you tie that in together, that is some of the best content you'll see, because people want to know, does this work with that? And if so, how to do it. That's not just hardcore docs. And a lot of times documentation doesn't cover how to do X with some other third-party technology. It's just that it's rarely that you'll see that. But when you can see it working together, the people really enjoy that type of content where they can see your content, your technology, your friend's technology, and it's kind of working as it's supposed to be, and it's a good demo piece for that. So when you're doing some larger scale content out there, and you want to, longer form content, I guess you would say, like this is how this works with this together. Always try to bring a friend in, because it does kind of put up some better content that way. And if you're just doing, a webinar and you want to showcase what you're doing, see if someone wants to host it for you. And if you're not really good at that, or you don't know anybody, practice. It's okay to, hey, would you like to be, hosting it? So even with, some of my employees now, I jump back in and I don't mind hosting. It's a great thing to do because it just gives a little extra human layer to the content you're producing. Let me know what you think about in the comments. If you like this video, hit like, hit subscribe if you want to hear more, and we'll see everybody else in the community.